we're going to spend a brief moment talking about range analysis in life. And range analysis, I would call a rather explicit way to understand what maturity means in a variety of contexts. Here we go. If you've ever heard someone play XCOM who is a good player, in XCOM, you control a whole bunch of troops and you're trying to shoot at various aliens to protect the world. And whenever you choose to shoot at an alien, there's a percentage roll. It's a turn-based strategy game, and it says something like you have a 42% chance to hit the alien. And what you'll hear the good players say again and again is, you need to have a plan for what happens when you miss, not to have a plan for what happens when you hit. And that is the way to consider all the strategy there. I want that to stick with you. You have to consider what your plan is when you miss, not when you hit. Now, the idea of range analysis is the idea of not considering one possibility or trying to identify the one of many possibilities that will happen. It's to consider the full range of possibilities and to have an approach for the range, not for the particular piece. And so you'll see this in many different areas, which is, let's say oh gosh, what's a really simple example? Let's say someone really upset me in chat, and I got in a fight with him right here. Hey, Catlegs21, fuck off, right? I got really mad. Now, what is... in this sort of situation, you've seen a lot of emotional folk on the internet or on TV or in politics or in anywhere where there's visibility. You've seen people get upset over something that some other person said. Now, the incorrect way to think about that is he right? Am I right? Is this appropriate? Is that appropriate? That's just young. That's young, that's childish, that's immature, that's inaccurate. That's simply not the way the world works. The way the world works is that there will be a range of possible reactions. The person who said the offensive comment will have some people think that that's deeply offensive and reprehensible. There will be some people who will be offended but go, it's okay. You know, that guy doesn't intersect with me. There will be some people that don't get offended, that don't really care. There will be some people that don't get offended and disagree with the comment. There are some people who will find the comment hilarious, and they will enjoy it. There will be some people who will find this comment to be fun because, ooh, some drama's going to happen. So they're inherently interested. And too often what happens is people look at this range of possibilities and they try to identify, no, that comment was in fact offensive and I'm really hurt. No, this comment actually was just some juicy drama. No, this comment was actually just funny, man. Isn't that funny? And they try to debate what the correct possible thing is. But here's the thing. People have different life experiences, and as a result, they will have different reactions. And their reactions, based upon their life experiences to whatever's happening, is valid. That is a valid reaction. There's nothing wrong or fundamentally false about someone finding an offensive comment funny, or something finding an offensive comment really offensive, or someone thinking that that comment really isn't that offensive. Those are all valid life experiences. And the goal is not necessarily to say that is the right one single way to react, because many different reactions are valid. It's instead important to consider this entire range of possibility. And so I think that this applies in many different ways. For instance, let's talk about, banning in a game. Someone uses some offensive language. If you look at the range, maybe they were trying to be malicious. Maybe they were just having an outburst. Maybe they didn't realize they were being malicious and they were just being kind of thoughtless. Maybe it's something that's totally okay to say among their friends, but they didn't realize it would be bad. In all of these cases, in the entire range, a ban sends the appropriate message to each of those people in the range, which is why it's reasonable to issue bans for certain offensive behavior types. It's not important to identify what the correct circumstance is. It's important to look at the entire range to understand the consistency and the plan across that range. I'm a big believer in range analysis for consideration. I'm a big believer in considering many perspectives and making sure that each of those perspectives is understood as a valid perspective. And so, and this is why I mean by, oh, my soapbox slipping under my feet. Woo! There is very rarely a conversation about right or wrong. Almost always the conversation is not about right or wrong. I'd probably say 99.99999% of conversations aren't happening with a heated debate because one person's right and because one person's wrong. It's because two people have valid perspectives. And what they need to do is to take some time to understand the validity in each of these perspectives. And this is a lesson that was imbued into me as a result of playing poker, where I cannot know what the hand that my opponent is playing. I can understand what the range of possibilities are, and I can maybe try to narrow that range from like 10 hands down to 6 hands down to 4 hands, and I can analyze these 4 hands, but I still have to make a play that considers the range of possibilities, because I'll never know truly what one hand he has. And that's the difference between winning a $10,000 hand and losing it. I think that's an experience everyone should have, is to go, he definitely doesn't have it, I call. And then just have a 5-figure sum of money slide away from you and to go, wow, I was wrong, dude. That's something everyone needs to have as an important life experience. Oh, God, I still remember that hand that sucked. But anyways. And this whole idea of range analysis applies to so many different aspects of life. So for you, Mr. James the Moo, who's asking about, oh, I'm feeling a little anxious about this grad program, that's out of your hands. You've done all the things that you can do to control the inputs into that situation, and therefore, you should just make sure that your range of options is well thought out. Okay, so I've done the inputs here. What is that? What is that status? Okay, it's completed. All right, that's there. What else could I do? What if, God, let me use me as an example. There we go, right? All right, I'm doing a show. Let me try out event planning. And let me also continue to dabble in game development. And then if this pans out, great. And if that doesn't pan out, let me try to go down the game development route. And okay, we're doing this as a hard focus. And okay, what if this does work out? What if this doesn't work out? I obviously want Atlas to be a success, but the smart thing to do as a person is to do everything in my power in terms of the inputs to make sure that it does. And if it doesn't, to understand that that isn't part of the range of the possibilities. So what's that sort of plan? So to you, Mr. James, what I might say is just to make sure that you have answers for everything else. Every single other thing, to consider what the range of other possibilities are, because I'm a big believer that life is much like a pan with popcorn kernels in it. You can put one in at a time and hope that that pops, but if you try to live life like that, you will starve to death. What you want to do is you want to throw a whole bunch of shit in the pan. You want to consider this application, and then you want to consider this job possibility, this cool skill building, this hobby that could expand into a professional career, and you want to put all those in the pan because you're never going to be exactly sure which one pops. It is a probabilistic distribution, and the important thing is to note that it is a range, not a fixed thing. Rant complete. That was dramatically better than my Fatigue Mage play, so I'm going to close this thing. We're going to listen to some music.